let me record it so that I don't lose the video in case something bad happens and I can re-upload it later. Sometimes some mishaps happen like this, and I think it's partly because of YouTube. YouTube servers doesn't probably work as it should. All right. Yeah, with M1 instant startups, and as I said, this chip uses a completely different architecture. One of the most significant changes is that they are using a unified memory architecture, or UMA, I think, in which everything is connected to one board. It's not like before that you had one CPU, one memory controller, one memory chip, one hard disk. Everything looks like they are on the same electronic board, and that in turn increases the performance significantly. Thanks to Apple's in-house technology, in-house chip technology. Yeah, as I said, it has quiet performance, which means on MacBook Air it doesn't have a fan. It's very low energy use and very high performance. 3 times more instruments run in Logic Pro, so if you are a music producer, you will probably have a much better time on the new systems, on the new Mac systems, because it has 3 times more performance when running Logic Pro. Also, because Apple has a long lineage of Intel systems in production and in use today, and also Apple is transitioning to this new chip technology using M1. Therefore, it has some mechanism to make its apps work on both systems, on both Intel-based systems and also the new M1 chip systems. This base technology is called Rosetta, and Rosetta allows the required translation to be done optimally between the universal apps, as they are called, the apps that work on both systems. And most of the apps from now on will be produced in universal version, so that they can run both on Intel and on M1. Alright, with M1 and Big Sur, Mac OS Big Sur, you can run iPhone and iPad apps on your Mac. And this is amazing because you don't need to run any emulator or something. It's just a seamless experience, and it looks like a very good option. So MacBook Air is shipped with M1, and in a few days you can order that from Apple, and it will start shipping soon. One more thing about M1 is that it has 8 cores. The CPU, this chip, has 8 cores, and in comparison with the previous Intel-based CPUs, it is claimed by Apple to have 3.5 times faster CPU, and its GPU is 5 times faster. So M1, that is built upon 16 billion transistors in very small scale, and it's the first chip in the world that is using the 5 nanometer technology. It's amazing, just amazing. And it has CPU and GPU and everything built on it. It's great. and 3 times. Uh, by the way, I'm talking like I'm very much advertising for Apple, but I love Apple. Just they are great. They are very great. Although there were a lot of challenges this year, they kept their promise and they announced what they were supposed to announce and what they promised to announce, and they came up with what they promised to bring to the public, and they invented as before. They continued innovating. And also, as Tim Cook says in this event, Apple's MacBook shipping and MacBook sales have been the best of having the best in history of Apple, and it's great for Apple. So this year, according to Tim Cook, Apple has had the highest MacBook sales 2020. And partly I think it's because a lot of jobs moved home, and because of the corona crisis and coronavirus, people had to do a lot their jobs from homes, and there was no better option probably for most of them than Apple's Mac systems. Also, these new Mac systems, both MacBook Air and MacBook Pro, are using SSD that is two times faster than before. It also has a built-in neural engine system. It's kind of, I don't know, a kind of GPU or something specifically created for handling neural engine, and it has 16 cores. It doesn't have a fan, it doesn't need a fan, and it's called Silent Design. It has a lot of wireless browsing time, 15 hours for wireless browsing. Also has better image signal processing, so it gives you sharper images and sharper videos for its camera, for its cam specifically. And its price. Let's talk a little bit about its price. Its price for the MacBook Air, it starts from $999, and just this system, in my opinion, is a very good system. And if we look at the Apple's website, if I open apple.com, and we go to the Mac section, let me show that MacBook Air starting from $999. And if we look at the specs, both of them, look at them, they are brand new using M1 chip. Great. And for MacBook Pro and MacBook Air, the M1 chip models will be available after November 17th. Let's look at the specs of the 999 model. Look, tech specs. We open the tech specs. Gold, silver, and space gray colors, beautiful colors. And if we look just below this column, 999, we have Retina display and these scale resolutions, in addition to the native resolution of 2560 by 1600. It has also these scaled resolutions. And Apple M1 chip, 8-core CPU with 4 performance cores. and 4 efficiency cores. I don't know what it means really. 7 core GPU and 16 core neural engine. Great. Battery, as I said, 15 hours of wireless web and 18 hours of app movie playback, Apple TV movie playback. And it has 2 Thunderbolt and 2 USB 4 ports with supports for charging, DisplayPort, Thunderbolt 3, up to 40 gigabytes per second. Gigabits per second is great. 40 gigabits. About 9 gigabytes, about 10 gigabytes per second. It's amazing. And USB 3.1 generation 2, which they call USB 4, I guess. All right. So I think this means that it has a port that is both supported for Thunderbolt and USB, not summing up to 4 ports. It's all 2 ports, but both of them supports both Thunderbolt and USB 4. Its memory is 8 gigabyte. It's configurable to 16 gigabyte, and its hard disk 256 gigabytes. Great. And it can be configured up to 2 terabytes. It has Touch ID sensor. Camera is 720 pixel FaceTime HD camera, and video support simultaneously supports full native resolution on the built-in at millions of colors, and one external display with up to 6K display resolution at 60 Hertz, and also Thunderbolt 3 digital video output. It's great. And audio stereo speakers, wide stereo sound, and nice. Let's talk about its weight. Its weight is about 1.29 kilograms, and its operating system, Big Sur. macOS is the most advanced desktop operating system in the world. macOS Big Sur introduces a bold new design and major updates to apps. Alright, and these are the built-in apps inside this operating system, inside any of these devices. It has iMovie and GarageBand for movie creators, for amateur and home movie creators, and also music lovers. The contents of the box: MacBook Air, 3-watt USB-C power adapter, USB-C, and USB-C. Oh, it is charged with USB-C power adapter, and also USB-C charge cable to mirror. It's weird. So they don't use the previous cable. This is something that I just found. Now let's look at the MacBook Pro. Let's look at the specifications of MacBook Pro, the new model, 13-inch model. And I think a lot of people choose these models, 13-inch. Great. MacBook Pro, all systems Pro, supercharged by the Apple M1 chip. Tech specs: giant leap. It has only 2 colors, silver and space gray, and it has 2 prices, $12.99 and $14.99, almost $1,500 and $1,300. Just a magic pricing. And Retina display. Let's see what the difference is between this system and MacBook Air. Nothing in terms of M1 chip. No difference. No difference in terms of memory. 8 gigs configurable to 16 gigs, and also the hard disk storage, no difference, 256 configurable to 2 terabytes. All right. Yeah, no difference in terms of the 2 ports, the 2 Thunderbolt USB 4 ports. The keyboard, probably there's a difference in keyboard, but I didn't look it up in the previous MacBook Air. So probably this touch ID, touch bar, is something that is added to MacBook Pro that wasn't available for MacBook Air. No difference in camera and Wi-Fi, I don't think there's a difference. No difference in terms of the video support and audio. And a little bit heavier than MacBook Air. It was 129 or 1.2 I guess kilograms, but this is 1.4. Yeah, I don't see much differences. Oh, let's look at the cables. 61 watt. It was different watts. It was 30 watts, I guess. Power USB-C power adapter. Let's save this in your tab. Let's go back to no, go to MacBook Air, please. Yeah, as you can see, there are a lineage of 3 systems released: MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, and Mac Mini. And Mac Mini is the cheapest one, which probably works for a lot of home users. And I will look it up in a moment. Just before that, let's make sure that we are... Oh, tech specs. The tech specs. The operating watt, and also yeah, you can see that it is 30 watt, but it was 61 watt. So the power usage with MacBook Pro is higher, and it probably has also a fan. So let's... No, I don't see any fan. Okay, now let's look at the Mac Mini specs. Mac Mini. Tech specs. It starts from $699, $700, and it has 2 versions, M1 and Intel. And Intel is more expensive. Interesting. Oh my, Intel is much more expensive. But M1 is $699, $899, about $900. The CPU is the same as the new MacBook Air and MacBook Pro versions. Memory is the same, storage is the same, probably output, video output and support is the same. And there is the connections. Beautiful Thunderbolt USB 4 connections. It has 2 ports like the MacBook Pro and MacBook Air systems, HDMI 2 and USB-A, the normal USB. It has an Ethernet port, and these are probably the audio ports. VGA supported using adapters. Okay, headphone jack. It has an headphone jack, and these 2, I don't know what these 2 are. 2 USB-A ports, Thunderbolt 2, display A. DisplayPort, and this aperture is probably for its fan, and it's for thermal conditioning. Okay, its weight is 1.2. It's very beautiful. Aluminum body. And its operating system is Big Sur, the new Apple's operating system. And great. So before I wrap up this video and this episode, let's also take a look at the event. I don't think you hear the audio from this event because I don't know how to set up OBS so that it also streams the audio from the system speakers and system audio output. If someone knows that, please comment below this video so that I can apply this setting for the next sessions. So it starts with a nice music, and then Tim Cook starts talking, announces the new M1 chip and Apple's commitment to bringing the latest and keeping its promises among the challenges that we had this year. And also it tells about the surged market of MacBooks this year and Apple Watch. Yeah, and after that, technical people come and talk about the hardware innovations, M1 chip, and macOS Big Sur, MacBook Air, and Mac Mini, MacBook Pro. Great. And look at this CPU fabric. Which part was it? Great. Yeah, as I said, it uses the first 5nm technology in the world in this M1 chip. All right. So with that, I think I should wrap up this video. Just before I end it, let me mention something. If you are getting a notification in your Mac OS that the new version of this operating system, the new version of Mac operating system, Mac OS Big Sur, is available for download, please don't hurry up, especially if you have some Mac OS Big Sur. If you have some software that you are dependent on for your job and for your work, because there might be some incompatibility with the software that you are using and the new version of Apple's operating system. So make sure that your software has support for the new version of Mac OS Big Sur before planning to upgrade. Oh, Mac OS Big Sur. I just entered Mac OS Big Sur. Yeah. So before upgrading, make sure that all the software that you are using have started to give out some versions, some new update that supports completely this new operating system, and then you can easily upgrade to the new version of the operating system. I hope that you like this video and this podcast. Please let me know what you think of this podcast. Subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate it if you leave some comment and hit the like button. And stay safe and take care.